Before we get into the politics, we need to know where Tovaria actually is. The Free Republic of Tovaria is set on a hypothetical landmass called the Tovarian subcontinent, a gigantic peninsula attached to the western coast of South America. And when I say gigantic, I do not mean big island with confidence issues. This peninsula extends around 2,000 kilometers into the Pacific Ocean, which means South America basically grew a massive geographical side quest. Tovaria itself is enormous. It is larger than the contiguous United States and even larger than Brazil, because apparently normal country size was not dramatic enough. So this is not some tiny fictional island where everyone knows each other and the national crisis is one cow escaping. This is a continent-sized republic with hundreds of millions of people, huge regional differences, mountain ranges, coastlines, deserts, rainforests, islands, megacities, and enough administrative headaches to make a civil servant stare silently into the middle distance. Geographically, Tovaria sits on the western side of South America, facing the Pacific Ocean. Its position gives it major coastal access, huge natural diversity, and, naturally, several thousand years of people arguing over borders, resources, and who gets to draw the map. Because if humans see land, the first instinct is apparently to name it, divide it, tax it, and then dispute the border for 3 centuries. In simple terms, Tovaria is a massive hypothetical country on a massive hypothetical peninsula, connected to South America, stretching deep into the Pacific, and large enough that calling it a country feels slightly underwhelming. It is less small nation state, and more, what if South America downloaded an expansion pack? As of the 2025 census, Tovaria has a population of around 441 million people. That is not a typo. 441 million. So when Tovaria says, national issue, it is not talking about 3 angry people in a Facebook comment section. It is talking about a population larger than most continents' group chats. Modern Tovaria became fully independent from the British Empire in 1953. Before that, it gained dominion status in 1919. Which meant it had more internal self-government, but was still tied to the British Crown. So basically, Britain looked at Tovaria and said, you can manage yourself, while still keeping one hand on the steering wheel like an anxious parent teaching a teenager to drive. But Tovaria's history goes much further back than Britain or Spain. Before Spanish and British colonization, Tovaria was ruled by many kingdoms and fiefdoms under the great Shardukes, meaning kings, of the Gonhil lineage. Together, this formed the Shardukedom, or Empire, of Tovaria. In simple terms, Tovaria is a massive post-colonial republic with an ancient imperial background, a capital rooted in pre-colonial history, 18 districts, over 441 million people, and enough historical baggage to make a museum curator quietly resign. So first things first, the official name of the country is the Free Republic of Tovaria. Which sounds very noble, very constitutional, we definitely had at least 3 revolutions and a committee meeting about the flag. Tovaria is a constitutional, democratic, unitary republic. That means the country has a constitution, people vote, and the state is run as one centralized country rather than a federation. So unlike places where local regions get loads of independent power, cough cough America, Tovaria looked at federalism and said, no thanks, we already have enough problems. The government is divided into 3 branches: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. The executive runs the country. That includes the president, the vice president, the cabinet, and all the ministries and departments that make daily government happen. Basically, these are the people who press the big red buttons, except hopefully not literally. The legislative branch makes the laws. This is where bills are debated, amended, delayed, shouted at, sent back, rewritten, and eventually either passed or spiritually buried under a mountain of paperwork. Then there is the judiciary, which interprets the law and makes sure the government does not get too excited and accidentally become a dictatorship before lunch. Tovaria is also unitary, meaning power is centralized nationally. Districts and local governments do exist, and they do have devolved powers, but they do not have full legislative authority. So they can manage local services, pass limited local rules, and deal with practical things like public works, sanitation, and local administration. But they cannot just wake up one morning and create an entirely new legal system because the mayor had a dream. In simple terms, tovaria is a centralized republic with democratic elections, a written constitution, 3 branches of government, and local authorities that are allowed to help run things, but not allowed to go fully rogue. Which, considering tovarian politics, is probably a necessary safety feature. Parliament, legislative branch, is made up of 2 houses. The National Assembly, NA, is the upper house. The lower house is the Council of Representatives, RepCon. The President and the National Assembly are elected separately, meaning citizens can vote for a president from one party and a National Assembly party from another. Political chaos is not a bug, it is apparently a constitutional feature. The biggest party in the National Assembly is automatically given exactly 50% of seats, no more and no less. The rest of the seats in the NA are given to the rest of the losing parties in proportional representation. Before we explain how laws are made, we need to talk about the Council of Representatives, usually called RepCon. RepCon is the lower house of Tovaria's legislature, and it has 1,006 seats, because apparently someone looked at normal parliaments and thought, what if we made this worse, but democratic? Its members are called popular representatives, or PRs. Unlike the National Assembly, RepCon is not divided by political party. In theory, this makes it more directly representative of the people. In practice, it means the chamber contains district governors, local officials, mayors, department representatives, online vote winners, community figures, regional power brokers, and probably at least one man whose entire campaign was just shouting about potholes on TikTok. RepCon is meant to give ordinary communities a national voice. It holds debates, reviews bills, proposes amendments, and hosts public political forums called popular forums. These forums do not directly create law, but they can put pressure on the government by turning public anger into televised chaos. The RepCon is not exactly quiet. It has 1,006 seats, which means passing a law begins by throwing an idea into a room containing more than 1,000 politically motivated people, several regional factions, permanent office holders, social media candidates, local celebrities, and at least one person who definitely only got elected because they made a viral video about potholes. RepCon is huge, loud, and famously hard to control. The 2014 Inkwell incident involved around 170 representatives fighting during a debate. Furniture was later bolted down because apparently even chairs needed constitutional protection. RepCon is famous for chaos. Sessions have been disrupted by shouting, walkouts, blocked podiums, mass arguments, and physical fights. So, when a bill enters RepCon, it is not entering a calm room of wise philosophers. It is entering a political zoo with microphones, legal immunity, free hot meals, and furniture that had to be bolted to the floor. Now that we understand the battlefield, let's see how a law actually gets made in Tovaria. So, how does a law actually get made in Tovaria? Well, first, someone has to propose a bill. This can be a popular representative from the RepCon, a party member from the National Assembly, a minister, the president, or the vice president. Basically, if you are important enough to have a chair in government, you can probably start the paperwork apocalypse. Most normal bills are called ordinary bills. These usually begin in the RepCon, the lower house. The bill is debated, criticized, amended, interrupted, shouted at, possibly misunderstood, and eventually voted on in the RepCon. If a majority supports it, the bill moves upstairs to the National Assembly. The National Assembly is the upper house. It has 201 seats and is much more elite, formal, and boring, which in government terms means it is allowed to ruin everyone's fun professionally. The National Assembly checks whether the bill is constitutional, whether it fits the government's political direction, and whether RepCon has accidentally created a legal monster with 7 heads and no funding. If the National Assembly approves the bill without changes, it goes to the President for final approval. But if the National Assembly changes anything, suggests amendments, or basically says, "What on earth is this?" the bill goes back to RepCon. Then RepCon has to review it again. Then it can go back to the National Assembly. Then it can go back to RepCon. Then back to the National Assembly. And this can continue until both chambers finally agree, or until everyone involved spiritually ages by 47 years. Once both houses approve the same version, the president can approve it, and the bill becomes law. That is the ordinary route. But then there are extraordinary bills. These are the spicy ones. Extraordinary bills deal with serious matters like constitutional changes, war, emergency powers, international relations, national defense, or anything that might make the Constitutional Court sit up and go, "Absolutely not, you feral little legislators." Extraordinary bills usually go to the National Assembly first, not RepCon. To pass, they normally need a supermajority of at least 75% in the National Assembly. If the bill affects the Constitution, the Constitutional Court also gets involved before the President and Cabinet can approve it. So, in simple terms, ordinary bills go through the normal parliamentary obstacle course. Extraordinary bills go through the boss level. The Constitution has no presidential term limit. A president can theoretically keep running forever, provided people keep voting for them and the Constitutional Court does not ban them from candidacy. Article 8 of the Constitution gives the President and Vice President massive emergency powers. However, it needs over 75% approval from the National Assembly and approval from the Constitutional Court. Emergency powers can only last 60 days max, and they need renewal every 20 days. As of 2026, Article 8 has never been activated. Article 41 is what makes Tovaria unique and unlike other countries. No other country has a similar ban. Tovaria's constitution bans industrial slaughterhouses under Article 41 because mass killing was considered against traditional values. Imported meat makes up the majority of meat consumption now. Hunting is another source of meat. By the way, seafood is loved by Tovarians, and this ban doesn't affect seafood farming and fishing. Tovaria has 4 main levels of local administration, because one layer of bureaucracy was clearly not enough suffering. At the top, you have the districts. There are 18 of them, and they are the main administrative subdivisions of the country. Inside the districts, you have local administrations, or LAs. There are 58 of these, because apparently the country needed a middle manager between the big regional government and the smaller regional government. Very efficient. Very human. Within the local administrations, you have counties. And inside the counties, you have boroughs. So the structure goes: districts, then local administrations, then counties, then boroughs. Basically, it is government nesting dolls, but every doll has a tax form and a complaints department. Local governments in Tovaria can pass bylaws and ordinances. These are local rules for practical things, like public order, local services, facilities, roads, sanitation, and other everyday problems that somehow require 15 meetings and a laminated sign. But they cannot create serious criminal offenses. So a local government can regulate rubbish collection, public works, and borough facilities, but it cannot wake up one morning and declare that wearing ugly shoes is punishable by 20 years in prison. Which is disappointing, because some shoes do test the limits of civilization. Boroughs handle the most local services. These include things like sanitation, public works, local facilities, and basic community management. So if the national government is dealing with elections, courts, ministries, and major policy, the boroughs are dealing with the genuinely important question of why the public toilet has been broken for 6 months. In simple terms, Tovaria is a centralized country, but it still has local government to handle regional and community level administration. The local authorities have power, but not too much power. Because in Tovaria, even the government knows that giving a borough council full criminal law powers would end with someone being arrested over a parking dispute by Thursday. A major Tovar cultural idea is the ahotw, a traditional household made of 4 families living together around a central jashira tree. The house grows and changes over generations, using old stone and salt-treated wood from previous homes. Tovarian culture is not one single culture. It includes Tovar, Kai, Ta, Utara, Wesu, Parelian, Rana, Babakslantung, Chuamkwao, and others. Food culture is strongly based on seafood, legumes, stews, fungi, fermented foods. Standard Tovarian is the official standard form of the Tovarian language. It is mainly based on the Itovar dialect, which was already used as a major lingua franca during the Shardukian Empire. A proper language standardization project began after independence. By 1960, Standard Tovarian was introduced into schools, government, and national curricula. In 1961, it became an official language under the Official Languages Act. Tovarian culture is basically ancient family houses, salt rituals, regional identities, fermented food, seafood, and enough linguistic complexity to make Duolingo cry. Standard Tovarian came from the Itovar dialect and became the national standard after independence, helping unify a country with loads of languages and dialects. Anyway, that was the Free Republic of Tovaria. A totally normal country with a 1,006-seat lower house, constitutional meat drama, and enough government agencies to make a spreadsheet start praying. If you want the full lore, and I mean the full ever-expanding, legally questionable, historically overdeveloped lore, the Google Docs encyclopedia is linked below. It gets updated constantly because apparently I chose to invent a country instead of developing normal hobbies. Subscribe for more Tovaria videos, because this document is only getting longer, the politics are only getting worse, and someone needs to witness the madness before the Repcon starts throwing furniture again. Like, comment, subscribe, and read the Google Doc. Or do not. But then you will miss the next constitutional crisis, and that is frankly irresponsible citizenship.